Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today's Wednesday, March 1st. It is 6:24 right now. Market's going to open in about 6 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set up this room real quick, and then we will get started with our analysis shortly. Just a couple of things here to update. And we should be good to go. So today's the first of the month. New month, new movement, new volatility. Hopefully, market moves a lot smoother today. So a couple more things here to update. And it should be good to go. So let me get this link sent out to you guys. Here in the premium. All right, that's good. Uh, all right, so link's been sent out, guys. Give a few moments for people to make their way in. I'm gonna go ahead and post up this link over here. All right, link's posted up. So good morning, guys. Today's Wednesday, March 1st. It is 6:26 right now. It's happy first of the month. So hopefully the market moves a lot smoother. It's March 1st. I did take a pre-market move right here. I had to close out early right now because I was holding on to the position for too long and I was getting close to market open. Unfortunately, did hit my TP, but I had to pull out early. So I took this right here for a momentum scalp. Volume was above average, and it was also momentum scalp variation. So I saw this here, obviously bearish. Took it for a quick sell, and then I just pulled out early. So let me check my profits. Yeah, profits are a little minimal. Should have just held on to it, but it's all good. I don't want to risk it. It was getting close to the sessions and it was getting close to market open right here. So if you guys see my pre-market profits, it was this trade right here. I took a momentum scalp. Actually, now that I look back at it, it's not even momentum scalp because there's no sell momentum here. So that was kind of my mistake. I didn't really notice this 5 minute right here. There was a pending sell signal earlier and I accidentally took it, but it's all good. I did pull out early because it was close to market open. Market's gonna open in about 3 minutes. So there's no way I was going to hold that into the opening bell. So let's see what's here so far. Morning, Stern. Morning, Maria. Morning, Martha. Morning, Johnny. Morning, Karen. Morning, Gactive. Morning, everybody. Yeah, let me give a few more moments for people to make their way in. I posted the link right here. One last place for me to post the link on our social media, and we should be good to go. All right, posting up this link real quick. to our Instagram. All right, looks good. All right, guys. So let's see who's here so far. Looks like the majority of you guys are here. Market's going to open in about 40 seconds, guys. Looking over here on the higher time frames, let's take a look over here first. So looking on the higher time frames, everything's pretty much bearish on the 1 hour, 30-minute, and 10-minute time frames. Prices below the pivots, trend meters red, pivots are angling down. Same with the shorter time frames over here. Everything's below the pivots, trend meters red, and the pivots are angling down. So with that said, we're obviously looking for sells today. Let me pull up the calendar over here and see if there was any news this morning that we need to mark up. News over here, well, not really news. The Fed just started speaking at 6 o'clock. So I guess I could mark up the Fed speaking at 6 o'clock. Actually, it's not really all that necessary because it's not like a normal news event. So I'm not going to mark up news right there because I don't want to avoid trades around those points. That's just when the Fed started speaking. Other than that, let me see if there's any other news today. There's news over here at 6:45 and 7, and that's pretty much it. 6:45, 7, and 7:30. So I will mark that up. Go over here to the clean chart or 1 minute chart. So we got it. And I got to refresh the chart again. It's new month. Hopefully these charts are now going to stay since it's a new month already. So 6:45, 7, and 7:30, I believe, right? 6:45, 7, and 7:30. Looking over here at my FX book, just want to make sure there's nothing over here that I'm missing. 6:45, 7, and 7:30. All right, cool. So we got the news marked up right there. I don't think there was any pre-market news here. So there was news at 4 o'clock, and that was it. So I'll go over here to 4 o'clock and I'll just mark up the news. The price is so far from it, so I'm not really expecting price to come back up here. I mean, I just realized I didn't even delete this stuff from yesterday. All right, let me just go back real quick. Probably easier if I just go ahead and redo everything. So let me just clean this up real quick. Mark up the news again. 6:45, 7, 7:30. There was news over here at 4 o'clock. And we have opening price right over here at 6:30. All right, perfect. So price, as you guys can see, is kind of bouncing around, guys. You want to hold off and wait for price to stabilize before we start taking trades. You guys got to keep in mind that it's the first of the month. A lot of new contracts are opening with regard to the options market and also with the futures market over here. So you guys can see how price is kind of bouncing around. I think price will come back down. So what to look out for here would be the 10-minute. As you can see, price could be rejecting off the pivot. I'll be looking for that here, and I'll also be looking for a pivot rejection over here on the 5 as well. If you guys get that right there, it's going to be an indication that price is likely to come back down. If price pushes up higher, you can look for another rejection off the higher pivots over here. So it doesn't have to be these pivots here. It can be any of the higher pivots as well. But we'll see how this ends up, playing around over here. We still do have a sell bias, so we'll see if this here holds or if it comes right back down. Let's go over to the clean chart as well. So market open was right there. Put a candle right there. And we'll put one over here at 8. All right, guys, so it's just a waiting game right here. It's got to wait for price to either come back down or continue pushing up. No clear direction here. As you guys can see, big wick rejection off the pivot. So if you get this right here, I probably anticipate price to come back down to to open price. So target price point right here is going to be coming right back down to opening price. The problem here first is that you have to wait for the 10 minutes to actually close. So the 10-minute hasn't actually confirmed that price is going to actually reject off it yet. So looking over here at this 10-minute candle, this candle still has 6 minutes left on it for it to close. Until it closes, there's no confirmation of rejection from this pivot just yet. Same with the 5-minute over here. This 5-minute needs to close in the next 50 seconds. Once it closes, then we'll have a confirmation of rejection. But you guys can see the rejection off pivot. On the 1 minute here, where price will likely go to is right back to opening price to retest this area, this blue line down here. So that's what's to look out for here. I mean, there's nothing for us to really take right now. There's no clear direction. Typically, on market open like this for the month, it's going to set a direction. So price has a strong push to the upside. It's probably going to be somewhat bullish for the whole month. Vice versa, if price pushes down super heavy for the first day of the month, it's probably going to keep pushing down for the rest of the month. So, don't get too jittery with entries right now, guys, because there's nothing for us to take right now. You got to wait for this confirmation. Main thing would be this 10-minute, because 10 minutes going to be leading. Looking over here on the higher time frames, we have a rejection over here on the 30-minute as well. So this here is going to close in the next 24 minutes. This one's going to close in the next 4 minutes. If you get a double rejection here, odds of it coming back down super heavy are very likely, right? That's just going to be speculation and direction of price. So you guys understand how a lot of people base their entries off support resistance, right? This is like support resistance, but this is dynamic because it moves with price. So instead of having just like a flat line area where you're expecting a rejection, you can see here that the pivots follow price. So as you guys can see, as price moves along, that's what we're waiting for here. This 10-minute candle still has 4 minutes. The 5-minute candle did close. So, we're basically going from a top-down analysis. If we get a rejection off the 10 and 5, then odds of it dropping are very likely. If we get a rejection off the 5 and 1, then price is likely to drop as well, but probably not as heavy. One of the bigger ones here to look out for would be the 30 and 10-minute. So as you guys can see here in the 30-minute time frame, this has 24 minutes left on it. But if we get a rejection on here and we get a rejection off the 10, then odds of it coming down are more likely than not, at least to come down and retest opening price or to come and test the low over here. So just keep that in mind, guys. This is the opening candle though, so you want to be very careful about looking for any entries at this point. Opening candle is typically the riskier entry of them all, because you get a lot of this manipulation and fake movement, because price will spike up, it'll spike down, but that's not the true movement, right? Over here on the clean chart, as you guys can see, price keeps bouncing around this area. It's consolidating. As price continues to consolidate, it's preparing for a breakout, right? And if that breaks out, my guess is that price will probably break out to the top or to the bottom, most likely to the bottom for a correction. But I mean, who knows? We'll see. So you can see this is the rejection point right here. So this thing might be coming down from where it's currently at. But again, we have to wait for this here to close. This candle here still has 3 minutes left on it. So it's got a lot of time until it actually closes. So let's see who's here so far. Morning, Jamie. Morning, Shannon. Morning, Kenny. Morning, Slava. Morning, guys. I think we pretty much got everything good to go. Morning, T. Morning, Gary. Morning, Kevin. Morning, Barack. Yeah, Gary said 4 doji candles. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty choppy right now, but we'll see. Hopefully this is just for right now and open, and then price ends up coming down super heavy, or it continues pushing up super heavy. I really just want a direction in price. So as you guys can see over here, this is where market open. Price kind of faked out to the bottom, faked out to the top. I just want price to actually push somewhere today. So for today, I don't care which direction price goes, whether it goes up, whether it goes down. All I'm waiting for is for price to go in one direction. So what we're looking for here is I'm looking for price to either push up, retest, and continue. Or if price comes back down, I'm looking for price to do the same thing in the opposite direction, right? Come down, retest, and continue. So I don't care where price goes. Price can go up, price can go down. It can go wherever it wants to, but I'm looking for it to go in one direction. My guess is that price will come down because the higher time frames over here are still bearish, right? So if price is super bearish on the 1 hour and 30-minute, odds of it shifting right here are not very likely. Price might retrace, but I'm not really expecting a huge shift. So the main thing to look out for here would probably be this 30-minute time frame. This would probably be the main one to look at, because when this here closes, this is going to be the initiation, because this is going to be the first wick rejection off the pivot. And then if we get a follow-up on the 10, and then a follow-up on the 5, and then a follow-up on the 1, then odds of it coming back down are super strong, right? If we don't get this here to close and price closes above, then we might have a shift in price. But at the moment, we're still looking for a shift back to the downside. Price is pushing up kind of heavy right now. Let me check the news real quick. So we got news right here in 6 minutes. It is going to be the S&P Global Manufacturing PMI. So some more inflation news right here, high impact. I think this is going to be the catalyst in the market. So when this news app comes out right here at 6:45, this can easily like push down super heavy. So just, keep that in mind. Nice. Yeah, Daniel said that the breakout hit full TP for a buy. If you're looking over here on the breakout for the 1 minute, just using the original breakout entry, this is correct. Daniel identified this as a breakout, this buy signal right here. So we got a buy signal here with a strong green candle. Daniel identified that as a breakout 1.0. If you would have taken that right there, guys, full TP. I didn't take it, so it's not an account. It's not one of the official trades that we take anymore, but it is one of the strategies, official strategies, if you guys do know the strategy. So if you guys took a breakout, great work. If you guys didn't, completely fine. I'm not in that position. So we will see where price ends up going from here. Question from Martha. Martha said, why do we follow the, okay, so question from Martha. She's asking, why do we follow the 30-minute and not the 1 hour for trend? Sorry, Martha, I'm confused with your question. So Martha's asking, why do we follow the 30-minute? Not we are following the 1 hour. It's right here on the chart. Sorry, Martha, I'm like confused with your question. What's your question? Because we do follow 1 hour. It's here on the chart. Yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah, Martha's going to rephrase the question. Martha was asking, why don't we follow 1 hour? But we do follow 1 hour. It's right here on the chart. Eunice said you didn't mention the 1 hour, therefore she is confused. Oh, yeah, no. So, I mean, that might be the case, Martha. Why you're, or I mean, if it is, I'll let you rephrase the question and then I'll explain. Because we are following the 1 hour. I'm kind of confused why I don't know. It's just might be the way you phrase the question. But yeah, you can rephrase it and then I'll answer your question. But we are looking at the 1 hour. As you guys can see right here, we look at the 1 hour, 30-minute, 10-minute. This is the higher time frames. It's always been like this for like forever. And then same with the lower time frames, we're looking at the 1, 5, and 10. So 3 time frames for the short term are 10, 5, and 1. Long term is going to be 1 hour, 30-minute, and 1 and 10-minute. Okay, so I see where Martha is confused. Because there was no rejection here on the 1 hour, Martha. Price was below, there was no rejection, so there was nothing to look at on the 1 hour. The rejection was here on the 30-minute. There's now a rejection here on the 1 hour, so now we can look at this, right? Price was below here, so what's there to look at on the 1 hour? Price was already bearish here. Price was retracing here on the 30-minute and the 10-minute. We had a rejection over here, right? We had a rejection off the pivots. So there was something to look at there, but the 1 hour was down here. There was nothing rejecting off it. So it was already bearish. These timeframes were following the 1 hour because the 1 hour was already bearish. But now prices moved along the way and the 1 hour is now rejecting off the pivot because we retraced up, right? So now that we have this rejection, you can look at both because there's something to look at there. So the thing with these charts, guys, is that there's not always something to look at all times, right? When there's something right there giving you a hint that, okay, price is probably going to come down, then that's why you would look at it. But earlier we weren't looking at the 1 hour because there was nothing happening on this chart. Price was like way below. So does that make sense, Martha? Yeah, I know there's a little confusion there because I wasn't really referring to the 1 hour since there was nothing to look at there. But now there is something to look at because the price did push up now and then it finally rejected off this point. Yeah, no problem, Martha. I know stuff's still like kind of new to you. So it's, you might not be able to catch on to everything so quickly. But now that we have these 2 rejections right here, these both candles close in 16 minutes. So you guys can see the timer here on the side, 16 minutes and 30 seconds. It looks like it's going to correct back down to the bottom where it's supposed to be. So back over here on the shorter time frames, we don't have a rejection off these time frames yet on the 5 and 10. But if price does push below, we can have that rejection. So as you guys can see over here on the 10-minute, price can push below, retest, and continue lower. That's kind of what we're looking for here. Price to drop below, come back, retest the pivot, and drop. That's going to confirm that price is going to correct back down to where it's supposed to be. Over here on the clean chart, the correction price point is going to be opening price, right? This is always going to be target price point. So no matter how far price retraces up, whenever it's ready to come back down, target price point on the way back down is always going to be opening price, right? This candle here has, or there's nothing here on the shorter time frames, but the main thing to look out for here would be the higher time frames because there's no rejection on here. So like, as I mentioned earlier, Martha, there's nothing to look at here on the shorter time frames, right? Price is coming down, but there's no rejections for us to look at. Price is rejecting off the pivot on the lower end over here on the 10, which is not going to be beneficial for us because we want price to actually come back below. The 5-minute over here isn't rejecting off anything. So there's nothing to look at here. And there's also nothing to look at here on the 1-minute. But on the higher time frames, there is something to look at. We have a rejection on the 1 hour, rejection on the 30-minute. If this here closes, the only last thing that we need is we need the 10-minute here to close below the pivot. So if we get that there, so this is what I'm kind of looking for. So we get a hint that price is likely to drop. In the next 5 minutes, if this 10-minute candle here closes below these pivots, then I'm assuming that it's going to align with the higher time frames, right? Because we have a rejection on the 1 hour, rejection on the 30-minute. The 10-minute over here is this is the only red flag, right? So like whenever you're looking at your confluences, you kind of want to weigh the pros and cons. So right here, our pros are we have a rejection off the pivot, rejection off the pivot. What does this indicate? Price is likely to come back down, right? However, what's the one obstacle in our way right here? The one obstacle is going to be this 10-minute time frame because you're getting a rejection off the bottom, right? So if you don't get price below these pivots, this can easily bounce back up for a further retracement. So that's where you weigh your pros and cons. Okay, like you have 2 yeses and 1 no. You know, you have maybe a 50-50 chance of price dropping further. What you want is you want like a 75% chance, right? Or 100% chance. Like for example, here, if you get price closed below the pivots, you got the rejection right here, you got the rejection right here, and say you got another rejection over here on the shorter time frames, then you have a better idea as to where price is going to go, right? If you have something like that, then you're like, okay, I have like maybe an 80% chance that price is going to drop. It's never going to be 100%, but you're going to get, you know, the closer to 100% you are, the more likely and more confident you're going to be with your position. So like whenever you guys enter a trade, you always have to weigh the pros and cons, you know, weigh the best case scenario. So best case scenario here is price rejects off this point and it comes down right back to open, right? You take a quick scalp, speculative move, 100 pips, very easy. You just get in and out very quickly because 100 pips is nothing, right? That's 100 pips right there. So if you're scalping for 100 pips back down to open price, it's going to be super simple, but you got to weigh the pros and cons. You can't just enter a trade and pray that price is going to come down. You got to actually understand that, okay, price has this much of a probability that's going to come down. And then you want to also weigh the worst case scenario. So what happens if price doesn't come down and it retraces up? Your stop loss is going to be 300 pips. Are you okay to eat that 300 pip stop, right? So that's how you guys should always analyze a trade. Whenever you're looking for an entry here, don't just hit buy or sell. Look at the trade and then look at your pros and cons. On the higher time frames here, okay, we have 2 yeses that price is likely to drop. We have 1 no over here where price is likely to reject off the 10. So that's like a 50-50% chance. I'm not willing to take a trade like that. You look over here on the lower time frames, you have another wick rejection off the bottom here on the 5 and 1, right? At that point, you have like a 25% chance of winning the trade. Odds of me taking that trade, not likely, right? And then now you can analyze in the opposite direction. So looking over here on the 10, you have a rejection off the bottom, rejection off the bottom on the 5, rejection off the bottom here on the 1. These are like 3 yeses, and you go on the higher time frames, it's a rejection off the top on the 30 and 1 hour. So at this point, you have more of a like maybe a 60 to 65% chance of price pushing up higher, right? So that's where you rate the pros and cons. You know, worst case scenario, 60% chance of price going up. That's of you losing the trade. And then, you know, 50%, if not less, chance of it price coming down of you having that movement back to open. So if I was to make a bet here, I would take the one with the higher probability. Instead of taking the sell here, I'd probably take a buy for 100 pips. And that's how you guys can kind of figure out what type of trade you want to take, right? Because realistically, when you guys are scalping and you're taking these speculative moves, you're only going for 100 pips. 100 pips is not very much. See, if you took a buy right here, you would have hit your TP already. There's no official strategy to it because this is all speculation. But, you know, once we confirm the direction of price, then we can start looking for buys at this point. So just keep that in mind, guys. you guys always have to have an open mind when you guys are trading. You guys can't be stuck on one position. Like you can't be like, okay, I'm only taking sells today, or I'm only taking buys today. You have to look at the chart and see what the chart's telling you. If the chart's telling you that price is going up, then you want to look for buys. If price is telling you that price is going down, then obviously you want to look for sells, right? You can see over here on the 1 hour and 30 minute, the wick rejection on this point is almost obsolete. We have about 10 minutes left on this candle. As you can see, if price closes above the pivots, odds of price pushing up higher is very likely, right? But for me, I don't want to go against a very strong trend. So I'd rather just sit out of the market and I'll wait for price to come back down. So for me personally, I'm not going to counter trend trade here. I know you can counter trend trade. That's why I was telling you guys here, you can take it for a quick 100 pips to the upside because price is going counter trend right now. For me personally, everything is still bearish on the higher time frames. So I'm going to be waiting for this to maybe push up a little bit and maybe reject off this higher pivot. So just keep that in mind, guys, when you guys are looking. Whenever you guys decide to enter a trade, whether it's a buy or sell, always weigh the pros and cons. What are the odds of it pushing up? What are the odds of it pushing down? And then you can have a best case scenario and worst case scenario. If your worst case scenario is better, then obviously take the opposite trade. Like for example, here, the rejection never closed, right? So we're not looking for sells right now. The 30 minute and the 1 hour is no longer rejecting off the pivot. So we're definitely not looking for sells right now. And if this is the case, this is perfectly fine because we can start looking for buys now. So that's how you guys should always analyze. And that's how I analyze the charts. That's why I have such a, that's why I always have a, analysis in both directions. See what else we got over here. Sorry, I got a message over here. I was trying to read the message that I got. See if there's anything that I'm missing over here. Just some pre-market profits from CSUK. So CSUK over here locked in. Total profit of 4,116 for the day. Nice work, CSUK. He took an ECAD trade and US30 this morning. So solid profits right there. Barack over here posted his profits. He took trade 1 and 2. Total profit of 1,085. Nice work, Barack. And then Barack had 1 loss over here. Barack had lost 1 today. Early entry. Set could have won. Yeah, so as you guys can see right here, Barack took what? There's no official trades, so there's nothing that could have been taken. I mean, the main thing here is that Barack took the buy earlier from the breakout that hit TP. Not sure what sell Barack took here, but he took a loss. So yeah, he said he entered early. So I'm assuming something just happened. That trade there. Here's Kenny. Kenny locked in 120 off his first account. And then he took a second trade over here, total profit of 1,530. Nice work, Kenny. So it looks like Kenny took trades off my analysis over here. He took the first sell and then he took the buy like not too long ago for the breakout. Solid work, Kenny. Let's see a link over here from Kenny. What did Kenny send me? Kenny said Biden delivers remarks on his nomination for Julie Su for Secretary of Labor. Thanks, Kenny. So Biden's talking right now. I want to be a bit careful with taking any entries if you guys do decide to trade right now. I mean, there's nothing for us to take anyway, so there's nothing for us to really focus on. But nice, Kenny. I just saw your message. Okay, cool. So Kenny's back to practicing. All right, let's go back and just reanalyze everything over here. So the 1 hour again, price, there's no hint over here that price is coming down. If price comes down and we have that wick rejection, so the main thing to look out for here, guys, is the wick rejection. You guys can see here on the 30-minute, we have the wick rejection right here off the pivot 4. On the 1 hour, price needs to push down slightly. It's got 6 minutes left on this candle, so it still has a bit of time. If price does push below and it closes with a rejection off the pivot, then I'm assuming a correction back down will probably happen. That'll probably give you like a 50% chance of price coming down. And then we also have the shorter time frames over here that need to come back down as well. We just don't have anything at the moment. So let me go over here and mark up news price. News price was over here at 645. All right, we got a news event, another news event over here at 7 o'clock. So see the S&P news right there at 645 was negative. And then we have some more inflation news over here. ISM manufacturing new orders, ISM manufacturing prices, ISM manufacturing employment, ISM manufacturing PMI, all high impact basically coming up at 7 o'clock. So we'll see how price reacts to it. Maybe it'll push a correction back to the downside. But that's going to be the next 5 minutes. As soon as the 1 hour and 30-minute candles close. So just a couple of things here to look out for. Rejection here on the 30, possible rejection over here on the 1 hour. Question from Glenn. Glenn's asking, hey, Sean, did we have any official entries yet? No, we didn't have anything for today yet. Market just opened like a while ago. So, I mean, and there was news right now at 6:45. So it hasn't been anything for us to take. No direction, no confirmation. I mean, price initially opened bearish for the day, Glenn. So we were looking for sells, but price ended up pushing all the way back up right here, like immediately on open. So there hasn't been an overall direction to trend. Without an overall direction to trend, there's no entry for us to take. Trend right now is currently, I mean, it's still neutral on the 5 and 10, but looks like it might be shifting back down. So let me go over here and I'll put the requirements up. So again, guys, first requirement for pretty much all the strategies that we're applying is to confirm the overall trend. We haven't confirmed the overall trend yet because price was bearish on open. Now it's back to bullish for the time being. I don't know how long it'll hold, but we'll see. I think our main indication is going to be the higher time frame. So depending on the 1 hour and the 30-minute, we have about 4 minutes left on this candle here. We have the rejection off the 30. We do not have the rejection here off the 1. So, I mean, best case scenario, price pushes down in the next 3 minutes, and then we have the rejection off the pivot here. Because if we get that, then we'll have a rejection off the 1 hour and a rejection off the 30, and then we can possibly anticipate a correction back to the downside. But at the moment right now, we just don't have anything coming up. Also, Biden's speaking right now. He's not really speaking on anything specific, like that's high impact to the news or to the market, but he is speaking. So definitely something to look out for. Hey guys, just keep in mind, I know like some of you guys come on the Zoom with like random username sometimes, but our admin is coming through with the ban hammer. So just make sure you guys aren't coming in with like a random username that's like, I mean, it's okay to come with a random username, but if the admin thinks you're somebody else that's not supposed to be there, they're going to ban you. So just make sure, like, I know you guys kind of mess around sometimes and come into the Zoom with a random username, but just make sure that it's not one that that raises the red flags. Just want to give you guys a heads up because I think someone just got booted from the Zoom. I'm not sure if they were supposed to be there or not, but just want to let you guys know. CT said the spread on MFF is bad right now. All right, guys, so this is perfect right here. You guys can see on the 1 hour that we have 50 seconds left on this candle. It's rejecting off the pivot. If this here closes and rejects off the pivot, my guess is that price is likely to come back down a bit further and probably retest the opening price down here. So just keep that in mind. Just, something to look out for. This is a news candle though, so I don't recommend entering a candle just yet. Don't enter anything yet because we have this high impact news coming up over here on the 1 minute or right here at the 7 o'clock minute time frame. So just keep that in mind. Because the last thing you want to do is enter a trade here. I think price will come down because we're having that rejection off there. But the thing is, you want to enter on the specific candle because the news is going to happen. Price might dump down super heavy on you. All right, so we got the rejection here. I think price will come back down, but I would not enter a trade right now because this is a high impact news candle right here. You might want to be careful with entering anything at this moment specifically. Yeah, huge candle right there, guys. Freaking mess. All right, so I think price will come back down. I think target price point is now going to be opening price as price continues to drop lower. So just looking at where price is currently at. Wait, why is my blue line up here? Oh, sorry. This is news price. Opening price is down here. So I think price will come down to some extent. It's just, it's probably just going to take some time until it actually comes down. See, CT said spread is bad on MFF. Yeah, so there's a news candle right there. As I mentioned, it was inflation news, so it was a huge spike up and down. But now that we have the rejection over here on the 30-minute and the 1 hour, I think price will likely make its way to the downside at least to some extent. So see where this ends up going. So yeah, my target price point is gonna be back to opening price right here. And we'll see where this ends up pushing to. It's still kind of messy right here though. Yeah, I think another thing to look out for again would be another rejection off this 1 hour and 30-minute. If we get that there, then odds of it dropping lower are, obviously very likely. But the market is, a huge wick on this candle right here, especially this 10-minute here. As price continues to, obviously bounce around. So we got to wait and see how market reacts to this news event. Obviously you guys can see already how it's reacting to it. Pretty choppy all over the place. All right. What do we got next? Okay, so this is even better. I mean, this is not going to be useful to us because by the time this 1 hour candle here closes, I mean, this is nicer that it has two wick rejections off this wick, but this candle here is not going to close till 8 o'clock. So at that point, we're going to be done with the live session. Here on the 30-minute, we still have this rejection on here as well. I mean, we can keep catching the drop further. I mean, what you'd be looking for here is you'd be looking for different hints. So like you're basically looking for rejections on these other time frames to confirm that it's going to continue dropping. So, I mean, I think it'll continue dropping. We got to wait for this 5 minutes to close though. So here's like one of the first indications of a possible speculative sell if you guys do decide to take some. So looking over here on the 5, you can see how price is closing in between the pivots. If this becomes the case and price closes below, and then you get a wick rejection off the top here on the 5, and then you get another one off the 1 over here, then odds of it dropping lower are going to be pretty likely. So. Yeah, so question over here from, or let me see, not question, but something that Barack mentioned over here in the chat. So Barack mentioned, and thanks, Gary. Yeah, Gary said perfect analysis, Sean. Barack said, I didn't have the TV countdown on my tablet, entered 8 seconds before time candle, pulled back slightly before close. Yeah, and Frederick mentioned, if that's the reason you lost a trade, Barack, then that should be one of the requirements for your entry. So yeah, and I agree with you 100%. Frederick. So yeah, thanks for the input there. That should definitely be one of your requirements, Brock, you know, like waiting for candle to actually close. All right, so let's see what we got over here. All right, looks like price is coming back down to opening price right here. So if this is the case, we have a bearish bias or price is pretty much corrected back to bearish bias. What I'd be looking for here is I'm looking for a buy signal. So now that price is corrected back down, I mentioned this earlier, guys, that we're looking for a sell here, right? Now that price is correcting back down, we're just looking for some sort of opportunity for entry. So we don't have anything over here yet. Yeah, exactly. Frederick said also, bro, narrow down and isolate losing strategies and review. Don't give excuses, have reasons. Yeah, and I 100% agree with you as well, Frederick. So that's the only way that you'll learn, Brock. If you're in the YouTube, you guys can see here that, or you can see Brock, that Frederick is responding to you there. Because it seems like, you know, whenever you lose trades, it's always like the same problem, right? Like whenever I see you lose a trade, it's either using like different strategies that you're not really confirmed with, or you're skipping steps in their criteria. I think the main criteria and also is just entering trades early. You have to wait for the actual candle to close to have that confirmation. You know, the only way to get better and get past that that issue is to really like stick to your rules. So no, Frederick's 100% right. You know, don't have excuses, have reasons. Like have an understanding why you lost a trade, so that you don't make that same mistake in the future. Because I mean, that's the only way you'll get better. I mean, realistically, that's the only way I got better at trading here on the live too. So a lot of people like try to criticize me for taking like too careful trades, but I'm also not losing trades, right? That's the main thing here. I feel like too many people are focused on profits and winning, and they're not focused on not losing. That they'll have like a really good winning day, and then they'll have one day where they have a couple losses and they blow their account. So I think the real skill of trading is really knowing when to sit out of the market. Like, for example, this news candle over here, I can see a lot of people probably FOMOed into a news candle here and then probably got stopped out on that big spike, right? If you waited a little bit longer, you probably could have caught a different entry as price was moving along. So here we go with the 5 minutes. So on the 5 minute, I think we do have a wick rejection off the pivot. This candle has 2 minutes left on it. So I'd probably be looking for here on the 1 minute is looking for a retracement up, reject off the pivot and come back down lower. But target price point is going to be opening price right here. Right? Price is almost there. It's coming all the way back down. Yeah, so that's pretty solid right there. But again, guys, don't just enter a sell for no reason. Like you have to actually have some sort of catalyst. So what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for, and you guys saw my markup right there, looking for price to come back up, retest the pivot, and then come back down lower. If we get that right there, then I'm expecting price to come back down further, but I'm looking for it to actually come up and test the pivot first. We also got to see this here close. Yeah, another input from Will over here. Will said, what I realized is focusing on one trade a day. And when you do that, one trade stop, I always have the FOMO of making more, but I ended up being emotional after 2 or 3 trades. Yeah, exactly. So like if your game plan is to take 1 or 2 trades a day, guys, then just stick to 1 or 2 trades. But if, like what Will said here is like he'll take 1 or 2 trades, and if he tries to keep trading after that, he starts to get emotional and FOMO into his moves. And that's another thing, right? So that's how you guys can avoid FOMO. If you guys know that you get FOMO after 1 or 2 trades, then just stop trading after those first 2 trades. Because you can have 2 wins a day and you can still be up pretty solid, like 1 or 2%. And that's really all you need. 10 good trading days and you pretty much have 10% at that point. All right. So price is coming back down. I mean, it's coming back down to the target, but there's no entries for us to take. So my get, well, I mean, I already told you guys where price is going. It's going down opening price right here. Let me see if there's any opportunity for any speculative moves. I don't really see anything specific. I was tempted to take a quick speculative sell here and just ride it to open, but I'm not going to do that because there's no indication for me to make entry, because price can easily just shift back up at any moment, right? There's no rejections here. If there was a rejection off the pivot off like any of these time frames, then maybe I'd take an entry and just write it down. But the thing that I would be worried about is if price swings up, stops me out, and then comes right back down. So I'm not taking any sells here just yet. If I see anything that looks like a possible speculative sell, like it looks like something that we could write down, then I'll take it. But if not, it's not even worth the rejection. It's not worth the it's not worth the risk. Let's see. So Dejan over here said it's rejecting off. Oh yeah, I see that right there. Yeah. I mean, you can probably write it down for a little bit. If anything, Dejan. Pretty much write it down to opening price right there. So Dejan here, thanks Dejan for that little heads up. Yeah, so I was looking for a catalyst here or just something to give me an idea to enter a trade. What Dejan said that it was rejecting off the SR. I turned on the SR right here and Dejan was 100% right. So this was a catalyst for possible speculative move here, right? You saw what Dejan saw is he saw price rejecting off the SR right here, the SRV2, and it was a strong red candle. So rejection off the SRV2, strong red candle. It was a break and close past structure. This was actually it was a high-low scalp too. There was a lot of different things right here that you guys could have looked at. So I didn't even look at this either. So there was a couple catalysts here actually, Dejan. Price here broke and closed past the low. So there's a high-low scalp. And then also is rejecting off the SR zone right here. And this could have been the quick 100 pips that you could have caught to opening price. So it looks like Maddie caught it, Sisu caught it. Karen caught a different entry. She took the old 5 pivot scalp for 25.50 and it hit TP. Nice work, big win right there for Karen and a couple other people as well. So this is what I mean about you guys using the tools here to help you guys understand entries, right? I created these tools for a reason. The high-low over here, you were able to identify a high-low scalp. So if you guys knew how to use my indicator here, the high-low, you can see that this candle right here broke and closed below the pivots or below the high-low, and that would have been an entry for a sell. And then also, price broke below structure over here, not structure, but the pivots. Again, another opportunity to take a speculative sell right there. And then lastly, we had the SR rejection over here that is basically a break and retest. So the way that this strategy here would have worked was a break and retest of the zone. So the SR zone right here. You saw price broke below, retested right there, closes a strong red candle, and then it pushed down pretty heavy from there, down to our target price point, which was opening price. You know, I had this drawn up when price was way up here. So price was way up here, and I already drew this arrow indicating that price was going to come down to this opening price. It always does that. You know, if you trade something enough, you guys will be able to see these patterns. These patterns just repeat themselves over and over again, especially if you're trading one asset. So like from what I recommend is that, like, you know, you guys stick to one specific asset and one specific trading style and just trade that always, right? Because you'll start to see these patterns, and it's going to be easier and easier for you to identify these entry points. As I mentioned, you don't, like, I have a ton of strategies here. I probably shared about 20 strategies with you guys over here. Like, if you have my course, you have like over 20 strategies that you can apply with my indicators. However, as I just mentioned right here, there's a lot of different ways to apply my indicators. So if you guys have a way of trading that you guys like to trade, I can show you ways to make your trading better by using my indicators. Like, for example, if you like to trade break and retest strategies, you can use the SR. You can basically use the SR indicator right here to identify zones. So whenever price breaks past it and retest, like for example, over here, I'll just show you a quick example of a break and retest. Right here, like I already showed you guys one earlier, but here's another one. So price over here broke above, broke back below, it retested right here. This would have been your indication to take a sell from that point. Right? You could have taken it for a 1-to-1 because you had a sell bias, plus you had a break and retest back to the bottom. This would have been your entry point. So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to trade using my indicators, guys. You know, I created these indicators for specific reasons. So if there's anything that you guys have problems with regard to your trading, I can help you make your strategy better. You just got to let me know what your strategy is and what your problems are. And if you know, I can figure out ways around it, which I probably could, you know, I can help you better, whatever way that you're trading. So yeah, no, definitely. Karen said, lovely way to start March over February's crappy market. Yeah, the market is starting to move directional here. Price is correcting back to a bearish bias. We already identified a bearish bias on the open, and now price is coming right back down below. We have a rejection here on the 30, rejection here on the 1. 10-minute right here is now back below. So the main thing that we're looking for here, guys, for an official entry would be a buy signal. So we need a buy signal to come up. That's going to provide entry for a momentum scalp failure. And then once we have that there, we can look for any other entries after momentum scalp variation, momentum scalp. So here's the other thing too. We need a sell signal here on the 10-minute, right? We have our sell signal here on the 5, but we need a sell signal over here on the 10. Because in order for us to take an entry for a momentum scalp variation, we need a sell signal. So this right here, we can get a momentum scalp failure, but we can't get a momentum scalp variation or a momentum scalp regular, because we need a alignment of momentum. So looking back over here at the requirements, guys, the requirement that I'm telling you guys right here is requirement number 3. So for momentum scalp variation, we already have an overall trend for a sell. You want to confirm that momentum. Oh, sorry. Number 2, you want to confirm that momentum aligns on the 5 and 10. So looking over here on the 5 and 10, we currently have a sell signal, but we have a buy signal over here on the 10-minute time frame. So we need to have a sell signal over here on the 10 in order for us to have any entries here for momentum scalp variation and for the momentum scalp. Otherwise, everything else is fine for right now. All right, so there's a possible entry here for momentum scalp failure. One thing that you want to look out for is going to be the volume down below. I typically don't take the momentum scalp failure, and there's no way that I can take a momentum scalp variation because we don't have a sell signal. We don't have a sell signal for the 5 and 10. So a little iffy right here. This might be a V1 as well, if it ends up closing as a red candle, because it'll be a double body rejection. So this will probably come back and retest opening price if that's the case in the next 30 seconds or so. So Yeah, if that there closes, it'll probably drop further. And then it'll probably, push to some extent. However, I do think it's a little risky where it's currently at right now because of the rejection off the wick here. So as you guys can see, there's a rejection off the bottom wick right here. If it closes, this is going to be a little risky because, or if it closes below, then I think it'll continue dropping a little lower. Kind of iffy because it closed right at the pivot right there. If I replay this candle. So this causes a lot of uncertainty when there's a rejection off the top and bottom, which is kind of what happened right there. Yeah, it didn't exactly close below. Because you can see over here in the 5, price needs to come back and retest the pivots, right? So price is a bit far from where it's currently at. And in order for us to have a confirmation of like rejection, we need price to actually retrace up and bounce off the pivot, which it hasn't done that yet. And Maddie said it's also touching opening price. Yeah. So, I mean, if you guys took the momentum scalp failure here, it looks like it already hit TP. I mean, I didn't take it, but if you guys took it, looks like it already hit TP. Yeah, but like what Maddie said over here was touching opening price. So that'd be obvious red flag. I just don't like the momentum scalp failure as much because I feel like it's a super risky trade. It does hit pretty often, but it also loses a lot too. Especially if you're entering a time where market isn't really moving too directional. Like right now, price is kind of moving sideways. Price did drop over here, and then now it's back into a sideways movement. So if you look over here on the clean chart, I mean, realistically, price is just going sideways right here. Right. And you guys see the big wicks on both sides. It's just not a good area to enter trades. Another thing that I would be concerned about is that we don't have the sell signal here on the 10-minute yet. And then it also looks like price needs to retrace here on the 5. So. Main thing I would look for is for another confirmation of price to come down. So price looks like it needs to retrace here on the 5. If price pushes up, this is what I'm looking for basically. If price pushes up and then it rejects off the pivot, then great. Then I'll probably be looking for a sell at some point. But at the moment, we just don't have anything yet. Here on the 10-minute, we're looking for this here to also close. So we have a pending sell signal here. This is a good sign. I actually want this to close, whether it be valid or invalid. Looking for this basically to close, look for price to push up, and then look for another rejection off the pivot to confirm that price is going to correct back down. So I want this sell signal here to close, and then I want this 5-minute to come up and test the pivot, and then same with this 1-minute over here. Come up, test the pivot, come up, test the pivot, and then come right back down. But I do want this buy signal here to close, hopefully. All right, so price tested the pivot right there. You can see price is coming back down at this point. You need this one here to actually close though. So this candle still has about 2 minutes left on it. If it closes, then great. If not, then, obviously, you gotta wait for that to happen. But you guys can see how these pivots here help, right? These pivots aren't a specific entry point for strategy. This is just showing you the direction of price. So like, for example, here we have a sell bias. If you see the rejection off these points here, then odds of it dropping further are very likely. So hopefully that's making sense to you guys. And you guys aren't thinking of these as like automatic entries. Like just because you see a pivot rejection here on the 1, this doesn't mean it's an automatic opportunity to enter, because you can see over here that price is rejected off these pivots as well, but price didn't necessarily come down that heavy. Price actually pushed up super heavy, and then it came right back down. So if you guys are confused with that, go ahead and chime in on the chat so I can explain that to you guys again. I just want to make sure that you guys aren't just taking trades off these pivot rejections, because they're not based, that this isn't meant to be an entry. This is just indicating that price is likely to correct back down. The entries that we're looking for are these strategies right here. There's one strategy that came up right here, momentum scalp failure. I didn't take the trade there because it was touching the opening price right here. And then also because price was going sideways. But if you guys did take it, it did push down and it did hit TP right there for 100 pips. The entry I was looking for would be a momentum scalp variation or momentum scalp. The only problem here is that we don't have a sell signal here on a 10-minute yet. So once we get the sell signal here on the 10, then we can start looking for those entries. But at the moment, we just don't have that yet. Plus, we have news coming up over here in the next 7 minutes. So just got to pretty much wait for news to push price. But I'm liking March right now. Hopefully you guys are starting to see the difference with March versus February. February, there was like no direction at all. You can see right here that price did fake out to the top, but then it came all the way back down where it's supposed to be. So price is supposed to be down below. We had a bearish bias pretty much all day today. Pre-market and then going into the market was bearish, but on open, price pushed up super heavy, and then now it's coming back down. Now we're pretty much just looking for a confirmation again. So looking over here on the 5-minute time frame, it looks like we're getting a rejection off the pivot. If this here closes, then odds of it dropping, quite a bit are going to be likely. Right back to opening price. And we'll see where this ends up going. So I'm still waiting for the sell signal to come up on the 10. I think that's the main thing that we're waiting for here. If we get that sell signal here on the 10, that's going to be the real catalyst here for us to look for entries, because we can't get any momentum scalps and we can't get any momentum scalp variations until we have that sell signal there. So main thing to look out for would be that sell signal here on the 10, just waiting for it to close or for it to even come up. It's pending right there, but it hasn't closed yet. So we're basically just waiting for that there to play out. All right, waiting game for all of us right here. This candle has 4 minutes left on it. We have news coming up in 5 minutes. You want to be a bit careful with the news. I think it's inflation news coming up too. So refresh this. News over here at 7:30 is going to be it's low impact. It's oil news, but it's going to affect the market. So obviously, but we're waiting for this sell signal here to close. I mean, once this sell signal here closes, then great. If not, then we got to wait for that sell signal to close, because we can't have any other entries until that happens. We already had the momentum scalp failure. That's the only one that doesn't require momentum across the board. These two strategies over here do require momentum. So the next entry that would come up would be a momentum scalp. But in order for us to have a momentum scalp, obviously we would need the sell signal here to close. All right. So there goes price, pushes down. We got the wick rejection right here on the 10. We got a wick rejection here on the 5. These candles close in the next 3 minutes. We have oil news coming up in 3 minutes. So as soon as this candle here closes, we have news coming up with regard to the oil. Let me check my FX book or Forex Factory. Yeah, it's just crude oil inventories. So nothing super high impact. All right, here are the higher time frames again, guys. As you guys can see, there's a nice wick rejection across the board here. So I'm expecting price to continue falling, in the next 30 minutes or so. This candle here is going to close in the next 30 minutes. It just has to close below. Same with the 30 here, same with the 10. If this all closes here by 8 o'clock, I think price will continue dropping for the rest of the session. Maybe not the rest of the session, but at least for like the next hour or so, or next couple hours even. Still got the news candle coming up in the next 2 minutes. So we'll see where this goes. Target price point, though, is going to be opening price per usual. I mean, that's pretty much where it typically goes. So as you can see, price came down. So you guys could kind of see the pattern here if you look closely. Price kind of came down, retested, coming back down from there for correction. All right, we got the news candle coming up in about 50 seconds. We have that pending sell signal there on the 10-minute, hasn't closed yet. We got about 30 seconds left on this candle. If that closes there, then great. We're going to have a wick rejection across the board here with the sell signal. And then odds of it coming down are, pretty likely. 20 seconds left on this here. I'm just waiting for that news candle to come up. News candle in about 10 seconds. I think price will probably come back down to opening price. But we need this sell signal here to close. The sell signal didn't close here, unfortunately. So you got to wait for that to close. We have another 10 minutes left on this 10-minute candle, but it did not close. So unfortunately, no sell signal there. So we can't have any entries yet. Here's the news candle right here on the 1 minute. I'll go ahead and mark up news price again. All right. So unfortunately, we did not get that sell signal on the 10. We need that sell signal in order for us to have this momentum scalp entry. So if this sell signal here closed earlier and then we got a sell signal here, it would be a momentum scalp. I mean, if you guys want to take it for a pivot scalp entry, it's still technically considered a pivot scalp entry if you're applying that strategy, but it's not going to be a momentum scalp because it doesn't fit criteria. We needed a sell signal here to close. But we do have the wick rejection here on the 10, wick rejection on the 5, wick rejection here on the 1. So my guess is that price is likely to come back down and retest the opening price down below. That's probably where my target price point would be if I was looking to take any sells here. So yeah, basically. And this is just us being disciplined, guys. Like, I know there's different entries that you guys can take. You guys can obviously take, whatever you feel like. Like, I already anticipated price to come down here. So there could have been speculative sells looking to take down below. We had the wick rejection off here. So I already knew price was coming down. Wick rejection, wick rejection, wick rejection. The only problem here is that we didn't have that sell signal. If we had that sell signal there, then this would have been great because we had a sell signal close right here. And this right here would have been a momentum scalp. But again, as I mentioned, guys, the same that we were discussing with Barack here, you have to follow your trading plan no matter what. Even if the entries come up and they look really good, if you guys want to find consistency, you got to stick to your trading plan. So unfortunately, we weren't able to take this trade here. It would have went straight to our TP. But looking over here at their criteria, first confirm overall trend. We obviously had a bearish trend here, confirm momentum on the 10-minute. We didn't have that. So without having this step over here, step 2, we couldn't move on to step 3. So without moving on to step 3, we can't move on to step 4 to enter the trade. So, and also was touching news price. It was a news candle. So there's just a lot of red flags there. If you guys want to get lucky, you guys can take whatever trade you like. But if you guys want to be consistent, you got to follow your trading plan. So whether it's following my strategies or following your own strategies, just make sure that you stick to your trading plan and you don't skip any steps here. So I could have easily entered the sell here, but me knowing that I would screw up, most likely, I had to follow my steps here. Step 2 wasn't met, so we couldn't take the trade. All right, we got another wick rejection over here on the 5. If this here closes with a wick rejection, then my guess is that price is likely to come down and retest the opening price. This candle here hasn't closed yet. It has about 2 minutes left on it, so still got a lot of time until it gets to that point. So you guys can see the timer here. This candle has about 1:50. Looks like price is going to come down and test opening price though. Let's see, question from Karen. Karen's asking, I think something's off with my 1-minute chart. My New York low session was right at close of the news candle using currency data. Anyone else has that? So sorry, Karen, what happened with your chart? I'll check over here on the clean chart. So you're in currency.com, right? You said that your session, your New York low was right at the close of the news candles, 7 o'clock or 7:30. Does your chart look like this, Karen? Because I do see, so this is a news candle right here at 7:30. I do see the session right there. Yeah, so I think that's right. Yeah, so the thing with the data here, this is what I was referring to before, guys. The data is always going to be different, right? Because pricing is a little different from the broker versus YM. So yours is right. It's just your data is just a little different because the pricing moves a little differently. I mean, this would give you the high low from yesterday, the New York low from yesterday. So if you were trading yesterday on Tuesday, yeah, it looks like this would be the low point. So it looks right. This was at 12:59 yesterday. Yeah, this is before the swap. So it looks fine. It's just you're on different data. Yeah, no problem. So just keep that in mind, guys. If you guys are using a different broker data, you're probably going to have different markups. Like your sessions are probably going to be different because price was at a different point for that broker, which is fine. It happens sometimes. It's not a huge deal, but yeah, it'll kind of throw you off if you're looking for like the sessions or you're looking for specific price points where things are sitting. Let's see. Malik said US30 just short time. Buy in monthly time frame sell. Yeah, so Malik is on the monthly. Yeah, well, I think the monthly is probably always going to be bullish, Malik, just an FYI. Because the thing with US30 is that it's a bullish asset, right? This is where people put their investments in, like long-term investments. So like I think the monthly will always be bullish. Because so say for example, the index here starts to suck, what they'll do is they'll just swap out the index. The only time it dropped here was during COVID, and then another time right here. I forgot what else happened here. Something happened here in last year in the summer. But something happened and price dropped and then it corrects back up. So I don't think the monthly is going to be a good chart to look at because it's always going to be bullish. Like this asset is a bullish asset. So like price will bounce around in the lower time frames, but eventually it'll correct back up. This is what everybody puts their investments in. So like if you work for a company, you have a 401k, everyone invests in these indexes. This is where people place their money and they just let it sit. That's why it's always volatile because price will bounce up and down, but eventually it'll correct back up at some point. I mean, you might have to wait a couple of years for it to come back up, but eventually it will come back up. Let's see. Let's see, MC5 didn't close below the pivot. All right, so we're still having a little bit of a messy market right now, guys. I mean, this is usual for the first of the month, so don't get too alarmed. The market isn't moving very directional just yet, but I think it will move directional as we progress with this month. The first of the month is usually a little tricky because all the old contracts close from February and all the new contracts open for March. So with that said, you get a lot of people like basically hedging in the market. They're looking for different speculative moves where they think price is going to be bullish for the month, or whether they think price is going to be bearish for the month. Looking over here on the higher time frames, I think one of the good indicators would be like the 4-hour time frame because it's not too far out. The 4-hour here is still bearish, so I don't think this will shift up just yet, right? So looking over here on the 4-hour, I mean, price did reject off the pivot right there. It's probably going to reject off the pivot right here, push up a little bit for a little retracement, and then it'll probably reject off the pivot once it gets around this area here. right? So the 4 hour is a little bit of a better indication. I think price will still stay bearish, at least for, the time being. So in the short term, price might be bullish, but I think on the long term, price will just correct back down eventually at some point. All right, so back over here on the lower time frames, we got to wait for something here to confirm whether price stays above, whether price stays below. We currently have a buy signal here on the 1. We currently have a buy signal here on the 10. If price stays above, then great, we can start looking for buys. But at the moment, there's just no clear direction right now. I think market will smoothen out throughout the week, just maybe not today. The thing to keep in mind is that next week is NFP. So I think if we don't get a directional movement this week, which I think we'll get some sort of directional movement. It might not be super strong, but we'll have some sort of direction from now until Friday. I think next week we'll have more of direction because it's going to be NFP. So if you guys are not familiar with NFP, it's usually like the highest, it's like the most volatility of the month, like this week. It's either going to be super volatile or it's going to be super dead. My guess is that it's going to be super volatile because we do have a lot of other events going on this week as well. Trade balance, yeah, NFP is going to be on March 10th next week. So we'll see. Right now, there's no confirmation. Looking over here on the 5 and 10 minute time frame are currently neutral. There's no trend with regard to these time frames. The 1 minute is currently bullish, but it's currently just temporarily bullish. It's not very strong and it's not really holding at the moment. Let's see, question from Malik. Malik is asking, can you tell me, can I hold US30 for a buy? I mean, we're not bullish right now, so I don't think I would hold it for a buy necessarily. I mean, depending on where your entry point was, overall, it's still a sell. So if you look over here on the 30 minute, 1 hour and 4 hour time frames, I don't expect price to swing up just yet. Like if you look over here, so if we put the 4 hour time frame over here, everything's bearish, right? It's bearish on the 4 hour, bearish on the 30, bearish on the 1 hour. I don't know what kind of trade are you holding, Malik? Are you holding a short-term trade? Are you holding it for a month? Are you holding it for a year? I mean, if you could provide those details, I can probably give you more insight. But if you look over here on these other time frames, it's not looking like a buy right now. So I wouldn't be taking a buy at the moment. If you're trading on the short term, then maybe, but I mean, even at that, it's not really confirmed yet, right? Price here is starting to push up, but there's no confirmation that it's really going to stay up there. This price can just come right back down at any moment. Right here, you can see price is actually at a double top. This is the 1 minute time frame. It's a double top right there. If this doesn't hold, it's going to come right back down to opening price. So I don't know what kind of trade you're holding, Malik. Are you holding a short term, long term, swing trade, day trade, scalp? I mean, there's different ways to trade it. If you're scalping, I mean, buys could be fine right now, but if you're holding anything longer than that, obviously it's not going to be, because I'm looking at your previous message. You're looking on the monthly. The monthly is always going to be bullish. So that's not a good indication to look for a buy. Unless you're holding this trade for a couple months, right? If you're trading for a couple months, then yeah, it's okay to look on the monthly. But if you're trading for the day, you should be looking on the shorter time frames, like the 1 hour, 30 minute, and 10 minute time frames, because this will show you what's going to happen within the next couple hours or so, or within the next, the next day or so. If you're looking to trade for just an hour or so, then you want to look on the shorter time frames. I only trade it for the first hour, 30 minutes. That's why I'm only looking at the 1, 5, and 10. Because I only care what's going on these lower time frames. I don't really care too much what's going on the higher ones. See, Brock said, done for the day. Thank you, Sean, Casey Squad. Definitely, Brock. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Here's some profits from Sam. Sam's up a current 10,720 for the day. Nice work, Sam. Perfect. Yeah, so Sam said he took the back to open on demo based off Sean's analysis. So right here, Sam identified that sell. He held on to it, wrote it back to opening price, locked in a pretty nice profit. Solid work, Sam. Here's Patricia. So Patricia took a smaller lot size because the market's been kind of choppy. Total profit of 1,577 on this account, all wins. Nice work, Patricia. We have Patricia's other account over here, total profit of 2,845 for the day, all wins as well. Great work, Patricia. And then lastly, Patricia caught that swing to the upside right there, total profit of 3,345 for the day, all wins as well. Nice work, Patricia. So great wins across the board right there on Patricia's account. Super solid. Maddie over here currently up well over 2,000 for the day. Nice work, Maddie. Some solid profits right there. Kip over here, total profit of 990 for the day. Solid work, Kip. And I think that might be it for right now. We got Kevin over here, total profit of 4,580 for the day. Nice work, Kevin. And we got Barack over here. Solid work, Barack, with making your recovery and then also with your markups over here as well. So yeah, no, you're good. So this is solid right here, and this is good. Just keep doing this every day, Barack, so you can figure out whenever you have a loss, make sure you study that loss. It looks like you already understood where you messed up. It said you entered seconds earlier, setup was okay, but it was like your early entry. So it's all good. You learn from it. Yeah, so CT over here sent me the spread for MFF. It was up like 400 pips earlier. Sometimes that happens, but it looks like it's back to normal. Here's Eunice's profits. So nice work, Eunice. Eunice locked in a total profit of 357 for the day, all wins. He said there was a lot of news during the live session, saw price moving smoothly, so he took 2 trades. Yeah, no, definitely. So he's happy with these profits. He's on the live session, but he didn't take anything during that time. Kevin over here as well. He's now up 6,280 for the day. Nice work, Kevin. Yeah, solid profits on those other trades. Zach said he started a free trial on Monday and already passed. He's on an 8-day no loss streak right now. Might be getting to his head. So Zach over here is now up 9,892 for the day. So today, Zach locked in 9,892. Yesterday, he locked in 7,495. And the day before that, locked in 4,753. Great work, Zach. And here's Zach over here, straight wins. Nice. Great work, Zach. We have Natasha over here, total profit of 496 for the day, all wins. Solid work, Natasha. And then we have Sisuk over here, total profit of 6,216 for the day. All right, great work, Sisu. All right, guys, solid work across the board. Unfortunately, I mean, there was direction today, but it was kind of just going back and forth. If you guys listened to my analysis, there was a lot of different opportunities for you guys to just take speculative moves along the way, but unfortunately, no official entries. If you guys saw the chart today, we didn't have an alignment of momentum. The 10-minute here was kind of lagging pretty much all throughout the day. Initially, it was a 5-minute here because we didn't get that sell signal, and then after, there was issues here with the 10 because we couldn't get that sell signal over here as well. Price is now above the pivots. There's no confirmation that price is going to stay above here yet. But if price does stay above here, then we might have possibility of, buys or shifting to buys. But at the moment, we just don't have anything like that right now. I don't see a wick rejection off any of these timeframes that are aligning. We want these to be in order. So the 10-minute here, there's a pending wick rejection off the pivot. We don't have a wick rejection here on the 5, so this isn't going to align. It's not going to be used for us because we need to have that top-down analysis. Looking over here on the higher time frames, we don't have anything here either. So as you guys can see, a lot of uncertainty in the market. The 30-minute has a wick rejection off the top. The 10-minute has a wick rejection off the bottom. The 1 hour doesn't have anything right now. So there's just not much for us to take. If there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Just keep in mind that today is the first of the month. This is kind of similar to the market conditions on a Monday and a Friday because a lot of these new contracts are closing from February and they're reopening for March. So you're seeing a lot of turnover in the market, a lot of people trading both directions, a lot of hedging, a lot of speculating. And that just causes a lot of uncertainty in the market, right? Let me check the news for tomorrow if there's anything for us to look out for. Tomorrow is going to be March 2nd. So we got pre-market news, unemployment claims, and then we have natural gas storage at 7:30. That's about it. Then we have Fed member Waller and Fed member Kashkari speaking in the afternoon. I won't be trading in the afternoon, so it's not a big deal. Looking over here on my FX book. So my FX book, I don't see any news. All right, we have news over here. Pre-market, we have jobless claims, 4-week average, high impact, continuing job claims, jobless claims. So basically, there's going to be a lot of indication as to like unemployment right here in the US tomorrow pre-market. So that's going to cause a catalyst to have price push around. It's probably going to push price, once we get to that point. We have natural gas stocks at 7:30. And that's pretty much it. 8-week bill auction and 4-week bill auction as well. So we got some news tomorrow, which is going to cause price to move. Obviously that will be beneficial for us. But for right now, there just isn't much of a direction. If price continues to move up, then that's perfectly fine. My guess is that price might push up a little bit. These candles here have about 10 minutes left on them. So a couple things here can happen. Price might push up slightly. And then the thing to look out for that I would recommend is look here on the 1 hour. If this rejects off the pivot and say this 30-minute rejects off the pivot, then I'm expecting price to make its way back down. So as you guys can see right here, we got a double top set up, right? So the thing that I would look out for here is I would look for the rejection here on the 1 hour, and I'd look for the rejection here on the 30-minute. This would be the indication. So if you guys have this right here, this would be the catalyst for price to correct back down. We still have a sell bias, so I'm not really looking for any buys yet until, there's a confirmation that price will stay above here. We don't really have that yet. The 1 minute here is super messy. It's right on news price from yesterday, or from this morning, actually, pre-market. But this double top right here, so you guys can see there's a clear indication that price might be coming back down. We got the double top rejection here, big wick right there. The main thing to look out for here would be the 1 hour. So you want to look for that rejection right there and rejection there. If you guys get that rejection there, then odds of it coming down are very likely. Because what I see here on the 30-minute and on the 1 hour is that we're having a resistance being established, right? I don't trade support and resistance, but it's pretty clear here that resistance is getting established, right? 30-minute right there. And the 1 hour right there. So it's kind of what I'd look out for. But yeah, guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll hang around for a bit. I'm kind of curious to see what happens right here when this candle closes in the next, 9 minutes or so. If we get that wick rejection, I'm expecting price to come right back down, because this is a pretty clear rejection right here, double top. I drew this like way earlier when price is ranging here, and it looks like the bullish momentum is starting to die down. Yeah, exactly. Maddie just said that as well. So Maddie just said exactly what I said. The way that we can see that right here is that you guys can see the volume, right? So if you guys look at volume below, it's starting to die down. So it might be time for its correction back to the downside. But I mean, who knows? That's why I would want to wait for this here to actually close. You can actually see the volume here die down a lot more on the 10-minute actually. So if you look over here, price had a lot of volume here on open. So volume here on open was at the 6:30 candle, and then you started to have a lot of volume here, and it's starting to die down lower and lower. So as price starts to squeeze, it's typically preparing for a breakout, right? You can see over here, price pushed up, volume died down. This was market open yesterday, died down. And then it started to pick up again right here around like mid-session. So yeah, I'm actually really curious to see where this ends up, what ends up happening here in the next 6 minutes. I think this will reject off, and I think it'll correct back down. The thing that you guys want to be careful for, though, is a lot of manipulation, because you know what? We're not the only people looking at this here. I'm sure a lot of people see what we're seeing right now. So there's probably going to be a lot of people speculating, thinking, is price going to come down from this point or it's going to stay up? Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens here. All right, we got 5 minutes left, so we got a lot of time. If there's anything that you guys want me to cover, anything you guys want me to review, feel free to put your questions in the chat. But yeah, it's starting to look like it here. So we got 5 minutes left. Looks like it's starting to lose its steam over here on the 30-minute and 1 hour. Here's some profits from Slava. He said, recovered after gold ate me, but managed to get back in profit. Nice work, Slava. So Slava here is currently up in profit, 1,656. Yeah, it looks like gold kind of tossed you around a bit today. It looks like you had like about 4 losses from gold, but then you made it back over here, and you also made some profit over here from US30. So nice work, Slava. Those trades right there. Maddie said he's done for the day. So Maddie over here locked in a total profit of well over 3,000 for the day. Nice work, Maddie. Yeah, great profits right there. Over 3,000 for Maddie. We have Dejan over here, total profit of 375 for the day. Man, Dejan, you got to get off that hump. It seems like this is your case every single day. Actually, yesterday was okay. You didn't actually have that happen yesterday, or I think you posted it in the other group. But yeah, it seems like, you have like that one loss on the open. At least it wasn't a big loss though. So I think on your first trade, maybe you should take a smaller lot, or either a smaller lot size or have a tighter TP, tighter stop loss. And if you need to eat that loss, just eat that loss and then move on to the next one. Yeah, because this is what happened the day before that too. First loss, but then you bounced right back. So nice work there, Dejan. As long as you close out the day in profit, I think that's all that really matters, right? You guys are gonna have ups and downs throughout the day, but as long as you close out in profit, I think that's the main key thing to pay attention to and to understand. All right, so let's see. So we still got the rejection over here on the 30-minute and the 1 hour. We got 3 minutes left on this candle. So when this candle here closes, these pivots are going to adjust. And I can see this pivot dropping down a little bit. It's going to confirm the wick rejection right there off the 1 hour. So if we get that there, I'm expecting a correction back to the downside over here. I don't know how strong, but I do expect some sort of correction back down at the very least. Yeah, Dejan said it was right next to news, didn't realize how close it was, so we got out in a hurry. Yeah, no, it's all good. It happens. Yeah, Dejan said he needs to start marking it on his chart. I think that's a key thing, guys. So I know it's helpful that I have the news marked up on my chart, but if you guys don't look at my chart at all times, or if you guys don't have a separate screen that's dedicated to the live stream, then you should probably have, the news and stuff marked up on your chart as well, because it'll definitely help. Here's price as it starts to come back down, double top right there, confirmed. We got the rejection over here on the 1 hour and 30-minute too. I think price will probably make its way back down. But we'll see. There's a couple different red flags here though. Not necessarily red flags, but indications that price might not come down just yet. We got the rejection here on the 10. It hasn't closed yet, but that's the thing to look out for. Rejection here on the 10. Rejection here on the 5. And rejection over here on the 1. So Martha over here said, took these just to test my understanding of your analysis on pivots. And she says, and I know exactly what happened with that loss, FOMO, LOL. First one was a win, and I did not have to enter again. Gosh, yeah. So yeah, it looks like Martha over here, she took these trades and she actually did pretty good, like catching these bounces. She got FOMO on this other trade over here and she ended up having a loss. So the good thing here is that Martha understands that she made a mistake. So she doesn't make that mistake in the future. She just got FOMO. It happens. Like there's no getting around it. Sometimes you just have to eat that loss so that it'll like hurt for a little bit. And then you can learn from it and not make that mistake again in the future. So it's all good. It happens, Martha, but I'm glad to see that you locked in some profit right here. You guys got to keep in mind that, losing is okay, because sometimes losing will help you guys like actually understand what you're doing. If you're looking to never lose and you're still a beginner, it's not possible, right? You're going to make mistakes. Even I make mistakes. Like earlier this morning, I took a pre-market move for the sell. Thankfully, I closed that early with profit, but there was no alignment of momentum. As you guys can see here on the higher time frames, there's no alignment. Everything keeps bouncing around. Here we are on the higher time frames. So let's see where it's currently at. So we got the rejection over here on the 30. We just got to make sure it actually closes. So this is all I'm looking for, so that if you guys do decide to trade, we can kind of have some sort of bias in the market. This candle is going to close in about 10 seconds. Looks like it will close with a rejection. The 1 hour here looks like it will close as well. All right, so there was actually no rejection here on the 1 hour. It was close to it, but it didn't actually drop far enough for the pivot to follow it. So there's a rejection here on the 30, no rejection here on the 1. The double top here is still kind of lingering. So I don't know, this is a little iffy. I was hoping that this here would close with the 1 hour rejecting off it too, because this would give us an indication that price will come back down. I think price will come back down, but it's not going to have that confluence that I was looking for. So the thing for me to indicate for you guys to look out for now is, because this 1 hour here is probably not going to give the rejection. What you'd have to look out for would be this 10 minute. So what I'd look for here, if you guys are still trading after the live session, is I would look for price to come down below, retest it, and come back lower. And this retest right here, I mean a wick rejection off the pivot, right? So I want price to come down, come back up, reject off the pivot, and come back down harder. If that's the case right there, then we can probably look for, a sell to happen, or like a direction towards a sell. Shorter time frames right here, you want to look for the same thing as well. Price come back down below like that. So you're basically just looking for the same pattern to play out across all of these time frames over here. Once you see that pattern, everything lines up, and odds of it dropping are very likely. Let me clean this up a little bit. I do also mention there's a double body over here on the 10. Yeah, reversal pattern right there. So it'll probably come down. Thanks, Madhu, for the heads up there. So Madhu over here saw a double body. It's a V1 rejection right there. It's a reversal pattern. Price pushed up, reversal pattern. Odds of it coming down are very likely. There's also one over here too, Madhu, on the 5. And then also over here on the 1 minute too. There's a lot of them right here. Actually, that came up. So I do kind of expect it to come down at some point. You're getting like, there's a lot of reversal patterns right here that came up. Double body, double body, double body on these 3 time frames. These are all variation V1s. The only problem is that it's right at the sessions right now. So that's something that you might want to be a little careful for. Obviously, it's an area of manipulation. Let me turn on the high lows over here. So there's no double body here on the higher time frames, but there is on the shorter time frames. So do I expect it to come down? Most likely. Because our bias here is still for a sell. So like, if you have a bias here looking for something to come down at some point, then odds of it coming down are very likely, especially if it's leading on the higher time frames. All right, so let's see. We have one question here from Maria. She's asking, can you explain, or let me scroll up real quick. Sorry. Patrick said FOMO is the cocaine of trading. When it hits you, you want another. Not that I know such things. Maria said, can you explain to me what you expect in at pivot rejection. So here, let me show you what I see. So for example, Maria, let me show you, we're gonna do a top-down analysis, right? I'm just gonna show you what I see here. And we might have to go back a little further just so I can show you how things kind of align here. So I'll show you something that happened in the past, right? Just so that you can have an idea as to like what I see here. So I'm gonna go and just, and I'm gonna show you where this first pivot rejection happened. So this isn't happening real time, but I'm just showing this to Maria so that she can see like how we get this confluence here, right? This doesn't necessarily give you an entry, but it shows you the direction of price. And using the top-down analysis, the bigger picture, this will show you exactly, what to look out for in the future. Like, for example, if you have a sell bias and you expect price to continue dropping, this confirmation here is pretty much the game changer for you. Okay, Maria. So this happened at some point in like earlier yesterday. So this actually happened yesterday. This is the reason why I was looking for sells yesterday. So looking over here on the 1 hour, you can see how there's a wick rejection right here off this candle. So you're doing a top-down analysis. You're looking for a rejection off the 1 hour, and then you're looking for a rejection over here on the 30-minute. So the reason why we're looking for this here is because price is bearish, right? So you can see price is in a downwards trend here on the 1 hour. It's in a downwards trend here on the 30-minute, and it's also in a downwards trend here on the 10-minute. But you can see how price is retracing up, right? So price is going up right here. It's in retracement, but the overall bias is still a sell. So like, for example, right now and for today, we were looking for sells pretty much all day, but price is retracing all morning, right? So right here, price is retracing up. See how we get the wick rejection right here at 9 o'clock? So right after this, you're looking for a wick rejection after 9 o'clock, right? So right here is 9:30. This candle here has closed at 9 o'clock. This is now 9:30. This happens 30 minutes later. So it's easier to see real time because we're seeing as these candles pass along. Looking at this in the past is a little harder because time has already passed, right? But looking at this here, this is not the 9 o'clock candle. This is the 9:30 candle. So you see wick rejection right here, wick rejection right here, right? Going over here, this is the 10 o'clock candle as well, because this is 9:30 where it closes. See how we have the wick rejection across all three time frames on the higher time frames. This is the bigger picture. We have a wick rejection here, and then we have another wick rejection here on the 10. Now that you have this right here, this is going to show you, it's going to give you a hint like, hey, Maria, you see a wick rejection here, right? The correction is probably going to happen next because price is retracing here, but we're expecting price to come back down. So you guys have seen these patterns. I keep drawing them for you guys. Like I mentioned, okay, we have a retracement at some point. Like price comes down, we have the retracement, but we're looking for it to come back down, right? So where is this going to happen after the rejection at this point? So right here, we already know we have a rejection here, rejection here, rejection here. What do we think is going to happen next? We think price is going to correct back down, right? So once you have that set up right there, I mean, your entry is not going to happen here. You're not taking a trade off these entries here. You can take a trade. So one strategy that you can apply for this here, this is the pivot scalp strategy. So if you remember the strategy from the past, I used to apply this strategy a lot on the higher time frames. It's just the pivot scalp. So K2 pivot scalp. I mean, we used to do it on the 1 minute, but this strategy was meant for the higher time frames, but we started applying it on other time frames, right? So let me see if I could find the original strategy because the original strategy is a lot better. This is just the 1 minute, it's a little different. I don't know what happened to it. I did delete it. It's one of the older strategies. So this is one of the first strategies that we used to apply. I can't remember where it's at. I swear it's got to be on here somewhere because I remember saying it to you guys before in the past. Here, it's probably in the because I remember I put the strategies over here, or CC posted them at some point. I think I put draft or something, right? Draft. Well, anyways, just showing you like the example here. So the way that the pivot scalp works is that you identify the overall trend. We have the overall trend here, price comes down, price retraces up. You look for a rejection off the pivot, and then price comes back down for a correction. So this is the initiation of price coming back down, which your entry would happen on the sell signal. So you're looking for a sell signal here to come up. Doesn't come up yet. There goes a sell signal right there, right? Or no, it didn't close. Okay, there's a sell signal. Never mind, it didn't close. There goes, no sell signal. Okay, now it goes, no. All right, there we go. Okay, now we finally have the sell signal. This is a pivot scalp entry here on the 10. We already identified this to correct back down. So if you're applying the pivot scalp entry or just the pivot entry, you would do that. And this would be the strategy for the pivot. It's just called the pivot strategy. I swear it's on this list here, but I don't know what happened to it. Because it was like one of the original strategies. I taught this strategy to you guys like 5 years ago. I just don't apply it anymore because I don't trade on the higher time frames like that. Yeah. So this would be the 1 minute, but the one for like the higher time frames, because this is a 10-minute here, this is where you'd make the entry, and then from there you let the trade run. And obviously you can see it hits TP right there. So the way that the gist of the strategy is basically you're looking for a direction of momentum. Momentum's coming, or trend. We have an overall trend for a sell here. You're waiting for price to retrace up. And then when you get that sell signal, you take that entry to the downside. And if you guys are curious, because I know sometimes you guys will listen to these strategies and you guys are not familiar with it, I'll pull up the website over here real quick. And I'll just remind you guys that we have a lot of strategies here that still work perfectly fine. It's just that I don't apply them here on the live session because they're meant to be applied on the higher time frames. So if you scroll down, this is the course right here, guys. If you scroll down to the bottom, it's one of the older strategies. It is right here, the pivot strategy. So you can apply this for scalp, intraday, or swing. For this one right here, this was a 10-minute time frame. So this would be considered intraday. You click on that video right there, and then it has the explanation of the video over here. Let me see if I could. Why is the quality so shit? Okay, never mind, there it is. Okay, so there's the criteria right there. Identify a strong trend, identify retracement and rejection off a K2 pivot, identify a sell signal, and then you enter on the open of the falling candle. So what I was looking for right here, guys, is this exactly, right? You have price, you have an overall trend here for a sell, price comes down, here's a retracement, you have the rejection off the pivot right here, then you have a sell signal right there. That's where your entry would be taken. So if you guys want to go and watch this video, it's on the course. Very simple strategy. Very simple, but very lucrative strategy. You can see right here, I marked it up again right there, same thing. So super simple strategy, and it still works perfectly fine. And you can apply this on the higher time frames too. Either apply it on the 30-minute, 1 hour, whatever time frame you want to apply it on, it still works perfectly fine. So yeah, if you guys want to go and check that out, feel free. Otherwise, yeah, it looks like US30 dumped as we just talked. Yeah, so this thing played out perfect as we were talking. It's after 8 o'clock though, so it's all good. I'm not really looking to hop into anything too crazy right now. Yeah, Justin said, I only take the 10-minute time frame. January is fire, February not so much. I agree with you 100%, Justin, because February was just a sideways market, so it was super choppy. I think it was probably impossible to look for any good trades on the 10. But yeah, I mean market played out exactly how we identified. So I mentioned this was going to play out, guys. If you guys saw my earlier markup over here, I mentioned, okay, there's going to be a wick rejection off these time frames, and odds of it dropping are going to be likely. And that's basically what happened. A double top here played out, and it came right back down. So you guys see my markup right here? It did exactly what we anticipated. So we already knew this was going to happen. It just was a matter of time until it played out. So double top right there. The one in confluence with our higher time frame over here that we identified. and it dropped super heavily. So yeah, I mean, if you guys made profits off that, great. If not, it's okay. It's completely fine. But yeah, it's way past our live session time, guys. 8:13 right now. It's supposed to get off at 8. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I think this is it for today. There's just nothing else for us to really look at this point. So, all right, guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. You guys can message me on Telegram at Kodi Kai Trades, or you guys can email me, Sean@KodiKaiTrades.com. Otherwise, hopefully this market continues to move this way as the month moves along. I think it will. I think March, it looks like, and it seems like it's going to be a great month. So we'll be able to make up for a lot of missed trades that we weren't able to take during February due to the choppiness. So, all right, guys, have a great rest of your day. And if you guys have any more profits to post up, feel free to post them up in the group. And then I will add them to the list. Here's Natasha with a total profit of 690 for the day. Great work, Natasha. All wins. So, all right, guys, that's it for the day. I'll see you guys here tomorrow, and we'll